Hi everyone, so welcome to Single Value. So today I want to look at Jumia Technologies because tech has been doing superbly well and Jumia has been doing phenomenally well, particularly when we consider that the share price has been as low as $2.92 and right now it's at $21, so a big significant increase in the last 6 months. Especially when we consider the IPO price went as high as $42, and basically it's been a desecration of value ever since until recently. So if we consider this valuation of $1.6 billion in the scheme of things, it doesn't seem too much, particularly when you consider this is kind of like the Amazon of Africa. And when you look at Amazon being worth 1.5 trillion and Jumia being worth 1.6 billion, it's quite a big difference in value. Of course, Jumia still has a lot to prove. If we look at the share in the markets that Jumia is in, it's in Tunisia, Algeria, Ghana, Senegal, Uganda, Nigeria, Egypt, Morocco, Kenya, Ivory Coast, South Africa. They're in quite a lot of African countries, and this is probably about 700 million people that they can target. Though they've probably been trying to acquiring users at a fairly low speed. If we look at the active amount of customers they have, it's 6.4 million. That's a 28% growth. When we consider this country has been operating, I think, as early as 2012 in terms of when it was founded, there's been quite a lot of they've had quite a lot of years to operate in Africa. Though, when you consider Africa being a bit in terms of technology, a bit a bit backwards in some sense, where people don't have internet, or they don't have phone, or they don't have computer, that kind of complicates things. Or when the crime rate is high, when you drop off parcels and it can be potentially stolen. Jumia has been a bit more innovative in terms of how it does things. It's had to think things in a different way. It's had to think about payment technology. It's actually had to accept cash payments as well. So when someone drops off the product, they pay for it in cash then and there. When you think about Amazon, before you've even picked up the parcel or it's been delivered, you've already paid. There's kind of different ways you do things, and they've actually ended up doing a partnership where people can pick up their parcels at the local petrol station. So that's kind of one of the situations where Jumia has to operate a bit more different in terms of how they do things in a logistical sense compared to Amazon. But when in terms of a website, it's relatively similar. So as you can see here, we're delivering to pickup stations. As you can see, these are the petrol stations where you can pick it up. So in terms of time and experience, it's given a lot for them to improve. But the problem I have in terms of the financials is it hasn't actually really increased in the last year. So if we consider the first 3 months of 2019 when it was 31 million euros, and we consider the last 3 months of this year, revenue has actually dropped from 31 million to 29 million. Reason that it's in euros is because this is a German company that operates in Africa. The cost of revenue has gone down significantly from 16 million to 10 million. But overall, when we consider operating loss, it's still very similar to last year at 43 million. So they are losing significantly more money than they are gaining in terms of revenues. It's particularly disappointing, that they aren't really growing their revenue. But of course, there's a big uptick in the recent share price because everyone's expecting the next quarter to be significantly better. So they report on the 12th of August. I think it had... I think it was saying around here somewhere. Right here. So August the 12th, rather than August the 11th that it says on here. So everyone's kind of expecting that this company is going to be reporting significantly better metrics, particularly in this environment where their platform is much more needed than previous times. there'll be a much more higher adoption of ordering online and having it delivered. So when we consider that, this is, probably a situation where it's as good as it can get for a company like this, where it hasn't really had the same traction that it would want, even though its active users have increased. Yeah, and then we've got Jumia Pay, which is doing fairly well at over 70% in terms of its transaction growth. So, it has a marketplace, but our marketplace is growing at 22%. So even though they're, in terms of the user base, they're not growing off a huge number, and it's not actually growing particularly suddenly that quick for a company of, it's not that large. Especially when we consider that Amazon is growing at very similar figures, and it's at the current size it is at right now. Jumia isn't exactly picking up the pace that much in terms of where it's at right now, but it has the potential. So we're looking at this next quarter report and going, if they perform really well in the last 3 months, then that's a really good sign that they're entering the right direction and the potential is quite large. But if they can't capitalize on the recent situation, then you've got a big question of how does this, in terms of execution, this company is not executing as well as it can, or maybe the competition is too high, or people just aren't that interested in picking up the technology right now. So that's what I have to say about this company. It's one of those situations. It's a bit of a gamble, a bit of speculation. Where if it does gain traction, it's worth significantly more than a 1.6 billion valuation. But if it fails to gain traction, then as we kind of see with these financial metrics, then it's what use if you can't gain the traction, right? But you do hope in time that such a platform can, as online shopping is the future of everything, and if this company has a chance where it's become, it has the first mover advantage. If it can't establish itself in the next few years, then you potentially have other competitors coming in, and then it might just be a bit too late for this company, because it has had several years to establish itself and it hasn't done it in a very quick way. But we'll just have to see. Always interested to know your thoughts. If you have any questions, comment below. Until then, good luck investing, everyone.